Coffee Connections. My name is Seth Weiner, and I am your Rocktioneer. Coffee Connections, insights from innovators here in Atlanta in the nonprofit world. And it's gorgeous outside today. I always like talking about the weather because it really is. I love Atlanta. We actually have two seasons: spring, fall, which is one season, and summer. So we're in the spring, fall, actually the fall, spring. And it's really, really nice. Great hiking weather. Lots happening. I feel like the world's still spinning. So that's really good news, folks. The world is still spinning. Today on Coffee Connections, we're going to be joined by Jamie Lackey, the CEO of Helping Mamas. And Jamie is, let me show you here. There we go. Jamie, after nearly 20 years of being a social worker, saw firsthand that mothers she served couldn't afford the basic necessities to care for their babies and children. Now, this is interesting. The statistics remain staggering. 1 in 3 women in Georgia can't afford diapers. I'm going to say this again. 1 in 3 women in Georgia cannot afford diapers. So in 2014, she took a leap and founded Helping Mamas with a mission to collect and donate baby supplies to organizations who serve women and children in need in Georgia. Her role as CEO and as well founder, she oversees and manages volunteers, corporate groups, and partnerships, prepares grants, and works with an active board of directors. She handles the day-to-day operations that move the agency forward, and today's been one of those days. She has been very, very busy, so I appreciate her time. I also want to let you know that she is a recipient of the United Way of Metro Atlanta's first annual Spark Award, which recognizes a local nonprofit organization with the most innovative strategy to impacting poverty. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show. Whoops, there you are. Wait, where'd you go?
I don't know. There I am.
There you are. Hey.
Hey.
Oh, wow. How are you?
Hanging in there. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to have you. I know you had a very busy morning. We'll talk about that, but let's get you pepped up. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you drink coffee?
Not really. No, sometimes.
But do you have a coffee mug that you drink out of?
I have a coffee mug.
Oh, all right. Let's take a look at that.
Yes.
Nope.
Nope.
How does that come into play? Is when people come into your office and you just give them the old nope?
Absolutely. I have no room for any negativity, anything challenging, hard, stressful. If we can't handle it, we can always handle it. So nope is usually my answer if something bad is happening because we can make it good. So, but I do drink out of it. I drink hot chocolate. I drink Coke in the morning. So absolutely. My best friend got it for me last year for Christmas. So I keep it with me every day.
All right. Now, you said hot chocolate. Do you like your hot chocolate piping hot with whipped cream, mildly hot with milk?
Mildly hot with a little milk.
All right, now let's get real. Where's your favorite hot chocolate? Denny's, Waffle House? Where when you were a kid, where's your favorite?
Probably Waffle House.
I mean, where like you burnt your tongue and your mouth like immediately? Yeah,
I also really like Ghirardelli, the chocolate folks. They make some hot chocolate that comes out usually in the wintertime, and it is so good. You can buy it at the store usually. It's really good.
Awesome. Well, speaking of really good, will you please tell everybody about Helping Mamas?
Sure. So you covered it really well in your intro. Thank you so much. We are a baby supply bank. We collect and distribute essential baby items, and we distribute those to organizations that serve women and children in need. So if you think about it, birth age 12, we probably have it here in our warehouse. So if you've ever had kids, you know they need a lot of equipment, a lot of supplies, diapers, clothing, bottles. We also added period products last year for teen girls and moms and women in general. So we added that last year, and that's been one of our most requested items in the last year. So we keep it here. We have during non-COVID times, we usually have a warehouse full of volunteers helping us sort, organize, and get things ready. And then we have our social workers from all of our partner agencies. We have about 150 agencies across the state of Georgia that come here and pick up items, and they take them to the families they serve. So like you said, 1 in 3 moms has had to choose between diapers and food for their child. And that's what we call a diaper need. And without diapers, children can't go to daycare. Without daycare, parents can't work. So we want to meet people where they're at with their most basic essentials and make sure their children are taken care of.
Wow. Yeah, that's it's interesting. I mean, I didn't know that statistic till I met you and read that, and I found that to be pretty shocking. I mean, obviously food is important, but I didn't think about the other needs. So let's break this down a little bit though.
Okay.
So Helping Mamas is started in 2014, was it?
Correct.
So what got you to start? What was it, a personal experience, or what got you to found this organization?
So a couple of things. I mean, I've been a social worker and worked in the nonprofit sector and worked in the hospital setting for about almost 20 years at the time. It's over 20 years now. And saw just like a common need. And, like I was, working in a parenting program, and people would hear that we had a parenting program, and they would show up and they'd be like, we did a diaper drive. Here's a bunch of size 1 diapers, and all the babies we served were in size 5. So, it was well intended, but there was just no coordinated effort. And, I would see, folks, leaving parenting sessions, spending, 45 minutes of an hour long parenting class, just looking for resources for children and for them to be able to access. And so I just figured out, I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, my kids are older now. But I was like, I have a lot of baby stuff left over from when my kids were babies. I know I have a lot of mom friends. I wonder if I can take this passion for being a motherhood and my passion for being a social worker and come up with an idea, a way to collect baby supplies and get specifically what moms need, the size diaper they need, the size clothing they need, and, whatever it is they need specifically, if we can get our social workers to get it directly to them. Since I had been in the social work field for a long time, had a lot of contacts and knew it was a need, and just thought, I'll give it a try and see what happens. So in 2014, we started out of my garage in my best friend's basement. And here we are 6 years later, and we've got a little over 9,000 square feet and serve about 50,000 individuals a year.
Wow. That's quite the space. And now this is your second location. Is that right?
We started in Snellville. We had a small warehouse in Snellville, and we outgrew it quickly. So after about 3 years, we outgrew that, and we moved here about 2 years ago.
And was your first warehouse your garage?
Yes, it was my garage. And much to my husband's happiness, I've never seen him move boxes so fast as when I said we have a warehouse. He was ready for them to get out of the garage.
And is he still coming and helping move in boxes today?
Absolutely, he is. He actually was just here the other day helping us cut stuff and move stuff around in our warehouse to make it fit better. So, yeah, he still gets recruited every day.
And how large of an organization are you? How much staff do you have on a given day?
So we have 4 full-time staff, and then we have an AmeriCorps Vista program. And if you're not familiar with that, it's like Peace Corps for the United States. So we get really fabulous, dedicated folks who serve for a year of service, and they serve for us. So we have 8 of those right now. So we have 8 plus our 4. So there's 12 of us.
Wow. And you mentioned about the volunteers. Now, on the intro, there were some photos I found online of volunteers sorting different diapers and different items, etc. But they all were wearing masks. So I assume that those are fresh and new photos. Yeah.
We have small groups in right now. We held groups for a while and didn't have anybody in just during the court. We stayed open during the pandemic, but there was days during the worst of the pandemic, we're still in the pandemic, but during the worst of it, when it first started, there was days there was just one of us here and we were still getting supplies out. It was very overwhelming, but we did it. And then we've gradually let our staff come back in phases. So we're all back, full time now. And then we started letting volunteers come back in slowly. So we will take folks in groups up to 10, but you have to wear a mask. We have enough space that we can socially distance, and we have a health questionnaire that people have to fill out. We had over 1,700 volunteers last year. We cannot do what we do without volunteers. So it just got to the point where the need was growing so big, we had to find a way to safely let volunteers back in.
Now, are you worried about the loss of connection with volunteers in terms of if you had 1,700 next year when things get back to a little bit more normal, that you don't lose that connection with them and momentum?
Yeah, we had tons of momentum, and that was what this space was supposed to be for us, is that we wanted to be a space. I mean, we can host up to 100 volunteers at a time. And so that's really rare and unique. And so corporations really seek us out and want to be involved because we can host their whole teams and large groups all at one time. And so that's been really a tough thing. But the great thing is a lot of the companies that we work with, plus new companies, have been reaching out and saying, what can we do from home? What can we do from our office space? How do we stay involved? So we've been able to help them stay involved. And then we're already got folks ready to plan. They're like, as soon as they can, they're ready to come back in 2021. So we just really stayed connected to them via social media, emails, phone calls. And so we're really confident that they'll come back next year.
Now, when it comes to sourcing, do you source in a traditional manner that's not even traditional? Do you source like, say, a food bank where your donation dollars are going to allow helping mamas to get diapers at a much more reduced rate? Or is it independence like, hey, you have extra diapers, donate?
Both. So we take community drives, individuals. I mean, we just had 2 individuals show up here today, and they dropped off just some leftover baby supplies that they had, diapers. We take opened packages of diapers and we repackage them. So literally we make every diaper count. We have community groups that do drives throughout the year for us, and that's what keeps us going. But then we also are able to take financial donations and purchase diapers and get diapers at a much more affordable cost because we have purchasing power with 2 national networks that we're a part of. And that just really, really helps make a huge difference for us. Like we were able to get 280,000 diapers earlier this year from Huggies and the National Diaper Bank Network as a donation. And so when that happens, there's some fees associated with it, but nothing even remotely related to what you would be, paying, diapers in person. So we're just really grateful for that.
Got it. Now, this might be a silly question, but for someone like myself, I think about that. I hear diapers and I'm wondering, well, is it all disposable diapers or is it also, the towel diapers and what cloth? Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, great question. We have never really had a request for cloth diapers. We don't say no, but we've never really had a request for it. There are diaper banks across the country that focus specifically on cloth diapers, but we do disposable. Most folks do disposable diapers, and there's a couple of reasons for that. If you don't have access to a washing machine and dryer on a regular basis, then it's definitely difficult to wash those and keep those clean consistently. And a lot of daycares, you're not allowed to have cloth diapers because it can be like a public health hazard because they don't have the ability to clean them there during the day. So a lot of families that have their children in childcare aren't able to use cloth diapers.
All right. And are disposable diapers getting more advanced in terms of not recyclability, because no one wants a recycled diaper, but environmentally friendly? I mean, are we moving in that direction?
I think so. I mean, I don't do a whole lot around that, but I know they work very hard to be sustainable and to reuse products to make diapers. So I think they've come a long way.
Now, what other organizations? So you're very specific. It's very, very simple. You're going to collect diapers and get them to people that need it, like just on the surface level, right? What organizations were doing this before you?
There wasn't any. The Atlanta Community Food Bank did do some diapers from time to time, but then when we opened and got a warehouse, they got out of that and let us handle the diaper because they just do food, obviously, and they do that very well. So
they do number 1, you do number 2.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, for sure. So we took over and we do food and diapers. But yeah, before that, I mean, there may have been some smaller groups, but nothing to the capacity of what we were able to do. That's why we grew so fast, was because the need was so big and nobody was doing it.
And what about like social services and stuff? Were they doing that internally? And then now no, they weren't. Wow.
Very rarely. They may have a small budget for it, but not nearly to the quantity that they need it. And that's kind of where we come in. We're like, we want you to use your money and your dollars directly for direct service to the clients you're serving. Let us supply the diapers and you guys make your money go further and let us, come alongside you and supply that.
And you worked, so I think you said you work tightly with like the DFAXs and all that. Yeah,
we do.
And what about the Child Center for Child Advocacy and such groups like that? Did they tie into you as well?
So we have over 150 partner agencies, and it ranges from foster care agencies. We work with CHOA, we work with school systems, we work with DFACs, domestic violence shelters, homeless shelters, mentoring programs, you name it. I mean, if they're serving, women and children in need, then there's a good chance we're working with them.
And you've expanded to Tennessee, right?
We did. So my hometown is in Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know if you can see in the thing my Tennessee Tea in the back, but I'm
let's see.
there you go. Yeah. So I'm from Tennessee, and that was my hometown. And it was strange. We had a lot of people who saw what we were doing and saw how much we were growing, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to do a diaper drive and instead on you." And I was like, "Wait, hold on a second. Your community needs it too. Let's see what we can do." So we were able to start in Knoxville about a year and a half ago, and they've just seen tremendous growth as well.
Right. Now, we joked about this in the beginning before we went live, and that is the goal is to be out of business, right? I mean, but that said, that aside, is the goal to get to that goal would be to solve the problem. And there's a national problem, not just one here. Is Helping Mamas 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? Are you envisioning that this is an organization that is across the country?
Correct. Maybe not across the country, is more the Southeast and the East Coast. There's a lot of really strong diaper banks already across the country. Our kind of goal is to go into communities where there's not one already, where there's not presently one, and see if we can establish one there. So there wasn't anything in Knoxville, so that made perfect sense for us. But yeah, that's always been our goal, is to try to expand to areas where there's need and make sure we put something there.
Yeah. And then you mentioned something earlier with the volunteers, and it got me thinking. I'm curious. There's so many wonderful preschools that have families in it that don't have this problem.
Sure.
And I'm curious if you partner with them and they come in and do any fundraising or do any volunteer work for you.
Absolutely. We just had a couple of daycares. Kids Are Kids. They are a pretty big chain of daycares. They just did a couple of their sites did fundraisers for us. A lot of them will do diaper drives for us because, naturally, they have children that are growing out of diapers regularly. So we're able to put, bins there and do that. So yeah, there's several child care centers that we work with that have been super supportive because they get it. They get the mission and they get what the need is. And so they've been a wonderful source of support.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned it's not just diapers. What are some of the, you said you recently started the hair products as well, you said?
Period products, feminine hygiene products.
Okay.
So we started that. Yeah, no worries. So we started that. But before that, we do clothes, we do bottles, pacifiers, wipes, toys, car seats, cribs, pack and play, strollers, everything.
Something tells me like in about 6 months to 8 months, you're going to get a lot of wipes.
Why is that?
Because everyone bought like so many, and then when the pandemic calms down, I think people are going to be like, I don't need 100 bottles of alcohol wipes or whatever it is.
Yeah, we'll see. So it was really tough in the beginning because the supply chain was obviously so hampered, and people did go out and panic, and there was no diapers left like anywhere. And diaper shelves were empty. We had new moms calling us from the hospital like, hey, like we left the hospital and we don't have any diapers. Like we can't find any in the stores. And you certainly don't want new moms and new babies wandering from store to store in a pandemic. So it was something. We had to really, really work with our network and really, really work with supporters. It took us a few months in to be able to get our bulk orders going again. So our bulk distributions coming in again. So, but we're back up with that now.
Wow. Sorry that just all of a sudden, as you said that, this huge wind came and all these leaves, it looked like rain. I was like, it was very confusing. Sorry if I got...
It's our fall here in Atlanta. It happens. We get some wind, some leaves fall down. It gets a little bit cool, but yeah.
So then when you're talking about like new mothers, that it's not that they can't afford diapers, they couldn't get diapers. And that's got to be challenging for you because it's now like, well, it's a little shift of mission, but it's not, it's getting people diapers. So
yeah, we were able to send people to partner agencies. We were not equipped to be able to take people here personally. We just don't have the staff size. We just don't have it. So we were able to get people to partner agencies and keep the partner agencies full for as long as we could. And we stayed being able to meet the need, all through the worst of the pandemic. It just took a little bit of time to rev up just because, we didn't have time revving up. We just to refill once we kind of went through our original stock because of the supply chain issues. But, it was so interesting. It really was. Just what was flying off the shelves. It was just very interesting.
Yeah. It makes sense. If toilet paper is gone, so are diapers.
So diapers, yeah.
Now, you don't do baby food though. It's for that would go to the food bank, and
typically those are food banks. People will deliver it and drop it off, and we just take care of getting it to our local co-ops and food banks in the area.
Oh, it's awesome. All right, well, it takes money to make this happen.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you'd like folks to know, to go to helpingmamas.org, right down there. If you're listening online, it's helpingmamas.org. Or if you're looking, it's right there. Press
Right
pause,
there.
go make a donation, come back. Thanks for coming back. So outside of just direct donations, what are some of your primary funding? Is it from from foundations? Is it from galas? Where's the primary fundraising come?
Not events this year, but we get a lot of individual gifts. We get corporate donations. We also get foundation giving grants. And during non-COVID years, we do have 2 events that we put on, and that's helpful to help off support. For us, like the big thing is having diversified streaming fund, which really has played out well for us during the pandemic, because you don't want to rely on one source. If you were, completely event heavy and couldn't pivot quickly enough, that could really, damage your budget and your overall revenue during a year like this. So we stayed pretty diversified, but we really look at individual donors are huge for us, corporations and family foundations.
Is there any foundation you would like to mention?
Yeah, so the Chestnut Family Foundation and the Blank Family Foundation were new donors to us this year, and they saw the work we were doing and heard about the work that we were doing, and called us and reached out and asked how they could get involved. So they both gave big this year for us to support our COVID relief efforts. So they were fantastic.
That's awesome. Now I am familiar with the Blanks Foundation. I mean, if you like sports, then you probably you probably know that name well.
Yeah.
But on the philanthropy side, they do so much here in Atlanta and Georgia, and but it's that what you said though really interests me, that they called you. And when I think about an organization, a foundation like that, I imagine that they get so many calls that if they answered every single call, they would have no money.
Right.
But that they seeked you out. That's a true compliment to what you're doing.
Yeah, and thank you. And really a lot of that is like, we're so fortunate to be supported by United Way, and they raised an incredible amount of money alongside the Community Foundation of Atlanta this year. We were so fortunate to be recipients of that, and they really lifted us up and highlighted the work we were doing. And that's where a lot of people learned about us this year. So we're super grateful to United Way for doing that. And I think that gives legitimacy to the work you're doing, lets people know you're a well-respected organization. And so, people started reaching out and wanted to know how to help, and that was fantastic.
That's awesome. Now, you do have an upcoming event coming up that's happening around the holidays here. Can you talk about the Adopt a Wish?
Absolutely. So we always strive to try to serve, be the folks that are there for the families that maybe not necessarily get served. We know a lot of nonprofits during this year have wish lists. They get their family sponsored. What we're doing is we're letting people adopt lists for age groups. So babies all the way up to moms. And we have lists that you can adopt, and you can help us fill kits with those lists. And then we will get those to the families that need them. Particularly in the teen area, they're a very overlooked group and don't often get what they need in terms of Christmas gifts. That people kind of go for the younger kids and forget about the teens, and then people also forget about the moms a lot. So we try to make sure we kind of put together a list of things that we think teenagers would like, all birth all the way up to motherhood. And one of the things we're encouraging is, like, if you're a family and you have a mom and teens, like, we would love for you to adopt a teen one and a mom one. If you have young elementary school kids, we'd love for your family to adopt that list. Kind of like go to the age that you have and what you're doing and what's in your home, and we will get those right to kids and moms that need the most.
Awesome. And now that is available on your website, is correct? Yes. Helpingmamas.org?
Yep. Perfect. If you go there, you can find the contact information, and we reach out to us, and then we'll let you know what lists we have and how to get them to us. Now,
you said that the teenagers are often not they're looked over or whatnot, but I wonder, and then you said list, and it got me thinking, Santa, he has a list, and it's about being naughty and nice, and teenagers tend to be a little attitude-y. So do you think that had something to do with it?
Maybe. I don't know. Mine is. If she's watching, sorry, kiddo. Yeah, no, mine can be. It's really tough. Like last year, though, we one of the DFACs reached out to us, and they were like, hey, we've got some kids and some families, and the kids didn't get taken care of, and it was all teenagers. They all had younger siblings, and all the younger siblings have been taken care of and adopted off these programs and lists, and we were like, we've got to do something. I mean, these kids need stuff, and so it is harder, I think, to buy for teenagers because they're not into toys, and things they're into are more expensive. So we really encourage like gift cards and clothing and things, like that we can help, so they can get it. It's hard to buy for teenagers. It's really hard to buy for my own teenagers. It's tough.
It is, and you don't want to just give them things that they're gonna, you don't want to give them more reasons to be on the screen. It's like you have enough screen time, and they already have a football, so yeah, it's got to be challenging. Although I wonder what the kids wish for. Do you collect the wishes from the kids as well, or no?
Sometimes we do. Like I said, we kind of come behind and say, like, what are those kids that didn't get met? Sometimes those are kids that got added to one of our agencies late in the season, or, so they may not know. So we always just kind of try to have that backup available. Typically, it's technology and clothing. I would say those are the two big ones that we typically get requests for. So we had a donor last year buy iPads for about 15 teams that we served, and did some clothing and, try to do fun stuff like nail polish and journals and things like that. But
yeah, that's smart. Well, hopefully also the Queen's Gambit got folks thinking about the fact that the older kids in the adoption agencies, they don't always get picked. It's like puppies, you get an older dog's harder to get adopted.
It's tough, and they need love, and we just want to be here to give it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Is there anything else you want to share about helping mamas that we maybe didn't cover?
No, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to talk with you today and share about us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We always close our episodes with our guests, such as yourself, getting to recommend a future guest. And I'm curious, is there someone with a nonprofit here in Atlanta that's an innovator that you think would be a great guest for Coffee Connections?
Yes, I'm going to connect you with 3D Girls Inc. They're one of our partner agencies, and Rayoni Madison Jones is the founder and executive director. And they do a lot of empowerment with teen girls. And it's very impressive what she's been able to build and do. And we're happy to walk alongside them and happy to introduce you guys.
That would be wonderful. I appreciate the introduction. And again, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for what you're doing. I really hope you go out of business for the right reason.
Me too.
And folks, I encourage you, go to helpingmamas.org, check out the website, make a donation if you can, and consider a diaper drive, in the end of this year or early next year, especially if you go to schools and you're with other parents and looking for something to do. I imagine that there's a good partnership there. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you on Thursday. Our guest is Eileen Price with In the City Camp. So we'll see you back here on Thursday. Thank you so much. And again, Jamie, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks.